started.
All right, fantastic. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Today's webinar is going to be covering how to turn your CRM into a deal closing machine with PandaDoc. And no more appropriate time to talk about that than under year 8. So little housekeeping that we have. This will be a 50-minute presentation with 10-minute Q&A. Could run shorter. And thank you so much for your attention here. Brett and I are going to try to make it exciting and educational for you. Type your questions into the questions box and submit them anytime throughout the presentation. We've got a couple other awesome experts on the line here as panelists who are going to be answering some questions by typing, and they'll shout it out to us too if they want us to answer it live. And we'll send you a copy of this deck, of course, and a recording, webinar follow-up emails. You'll get all of that, maybe even a couple other deals from us. All right. So my name is Sonia Friedel. I'm president of BrainSell, a value-added reseller and growth enablement partner based in the Northeast of the US. And we love to help companies grow with technology. Brett from PandaDoc. Brett, good to see you.
Hey, Sonia, excited to be here.
Great.
I am actually the senior manager of channel sales here at PandaDoc. Lucky enough to work with Sonia and her team, as she mentioned, at BrainSell, one of our favorite partners, and we jumped through today.
Awesome. So just a tiny bit more about our companies here on the next slide. Like I said, BrainSell is a growth enablement partner. We've been around for 30 years and have seen all sorts of technology that's able to really propel business and grow without necessarily adding humans, because at some point, like now, it's very hard to find humans to work for you. That's our number one issue internally, I know, and all of our clients that I speak to, and they're having a really hard time hiring. So we love to help companies grow with technology. It can be anything from understanding what your tech stack is now with blueprinting to kind of diagnose some of the issues you're having, and then seeing, okay, is there technology or something that we can layer in to really help you grow? We also work with data plumbing. That means gathering all your data from different silos and making sense of it in a cool BI layer that you can visualize and see and take action on, and then do everything from implementing CRM systems, PandaDoc, ERP systems and accounting, all the way up to AI, bots on your website, stuff that really grows your business. So Brett, tell us a little bit about Panda.
Love it. And I think you brought up a great point, Sonia. When we're looking to close these deals and coming to the end of the sales cycle, you need people on your team, and it's so hard to find those right ones. And I think part of that issue lately today is having people focus on, one, things they enjoy, and two, things that feel productive. And that's actually one of the things that PandaDoc helps you with. So a little bit about our organization. We were founded in 2014. I have to give a shout out for our marketing team. You'll see that little panda unicorn, as we call the panda corn, in the bottom left corner. So we got our unicorn valuation this year. Since we've started the organization, we've actually grown to just under 35,000 accounts and over 800 pandas in the last 2 years as we've grown as we get from there. What we do as an organization is we find those gaps in the sales process, in your organization's process, and find ways to automate it. What we want to showcase today, and the reason that we like to partner with BrainSell, is as a former sales leader myself, there are so many steps in this process that I wanted to automate, that I wanted to find a way to make it easier. And today we're going to be able to showcase how PandaDoc can kind of take those steps out of the sales process to allow our sales team members and leaders to focus on what they enjoy doing, talking to their accounts, finding ways to help them instead of them, the manual tasks going to get them through those days.
And Brett, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Sorry to tell you about and kind of go over our internal use case throughout this whole thing, because I forget how I even found Panda. Maybe it was a trade show in 2014. It was right at the beginning, and we were doing our proposals through Word, and I hopped on this internally, and we loved it so much that we wanted to roll it out to customers. So I'm going to be talking about our internal use case, and we use it, and we've grown our business with it. Love it.
I love that. And candidly, even before I started here, I was a VP of sales at another software company. We had 3 different point solutions that solved the things that PandaDoc did, because I had never heard of it as a product. So I had that same aha moment when I first saw the platform. I'm like, oh my God, I was using solution A, solution B, and 3 other resources to come up with this material. So I'm excited to see that use case too, because I know you guys are one of our strongest users. So yeah, a little bit about PandaDoc, about us, and excited to get started with you, Sonia.
Great. All right, so we have some poll questions. So this goes into exactly what we were just touching on. how are you creating proposals, contracts, SOWs, estimates today? And please select one of them. So we were in the world of, creating a Word doc and then sending that out and hoping that someone had a scanner. What is that?
I was going to say, I've worked a lot in the healthcare space. You'd be surprised some of the things that are out there today that are still very manual. Even the other day, I was actually at my doctor's office, the family doctor that I've seen for years, and I love the guy. He comes in with this stack of papers because that's how he keeps his notes. And we started talking about what I do and jumped into automation and what he could do to make this easier. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not those doctors. I'm an old school guy." He's like, "But that would make my life so much easier, and I'm sure my nurses would love it." I was like, "Okay, we'll get to there.
At least
We'll
he's
get to
honest with
it."
himself.
Yeah, we're coming for you, Dr. Goldstein. We'll see. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, and then pull question number 2. This gives us a really good idea of kind of who the audience is. How confident are you in tracking your sales documents? And yeah, talk to us more about this one, Brett.
And this is a great question. And I think one of the things that really separates BrainSell is that consultative approach. And I love going in that because you're going in a place of inquiry. Because when you look at this question, there are so many people out there who are afraid to answer it honestly. If you don't know where your documents are, that could be a win for you. As a salesperson, that means my boss doesn't know either, so I don't have to worry about it. So he's not going to question her, she's not going to question him. That is one of the things that could be such a quick downfall in an organization, especially in high growth, when things can hide. It's like, no, let's know where the documents are, not to showcase what's not working, but to learn and do better. So I think this is going to be key. I don't know what you've seen with some of the projects you guys have worked on recently and what comes through.
Well, I think some people might say, like, what do you mean by tracking your sales document? You can track them. And so I think that's, that's what we'll show today, and how we do it internally. That's pretty great. So we had a 50-50 split there with some knowledge and tracking. So good.
I want to talk to those people directly. I love that anyone can be honest about that. That's the best.
Yeah, and then this is kind of along the same vein. How are you managing your document workflow? And these were some interesting. We had to come up with kind of the multiple choice here, and it really varies. Like, I know in our old workflow, we used to, get something via scan or something, and then we'd email it, and then it would go to the ERP team, like the accounting team, and then it would go into, you hope it got out and everything went okay. So these are kind of a mix of all these things.
It's so funny, even just mentioning how many people were involved in that process. One of the best integrations I saw our team do, we actually went on site and followed a document around because it was a manual paper process.
Right.
And they had a stack of invoices at the end of the month that they would pass to each team and go through, and it was for order processing. We actually saw one of those documents, and it happened to be an invoice fell under like a desk or something, and we picked it up and noted that way. And we're like, guys, what if nobody had seen that? Like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm like, well, this is for $2,500. We're like, oh, yeah, it's okay. We do a lot of processing. And it's like, guys, we can make this better. We can make it so much better.
Yeah.
Yep. That was a fun win. To take them completely automated.
All right. Great. So thank you guys for your participation there. I know we have a lot of people that are using Word docs from the first question, some Panda users. So hopefully if you're a Panda user right now, we'll be able to show you some new stuff too, and how it integrates to CRMs as well. So this is the 4th question. How many different solutions are you using? This is our final question. And I think sometimes you have to really sit down and think about it, because Brett, like, that was funny. It warranted you guys going on site and following a document around.
Of course. I mean, well, even just here saying the number of solutions. I'm sure you guys see this when you look into organizations. One of the issues you'll see is these silos. Customer success has these 3 things. Sales has these 4. HR has these 2. And a lot of times they even overlap with their functionality. So you'll have these different point solutions that people get stuck using when you can ultimately get lost. It becomes shelfware. It becomes bloat. I was wondering, what do you guys normally see? What do you recommend actually when you're looking to do an implementation? Is there a number of tools you want to see people use on the sales side? Is there a way that you try to either confine or limit that so it doesn't become too much?
I mean, yeah, for sure. We want to see it usually as low as possible. As few tools as possible to really drive adoption and minimize the risk level. I'm seeing all the responses are 3 to 5. So that's a lot. And it's a lot to also teach a new hire. Here's how you do this like crazy workflow tree and maybe put it in your HR onboarding and hope that people get it. So yeah, we just want to minimize the level of tool sets to increase success for new people, especially.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was our
Yeah.
last poll question, right?
Yeah, talk to us about how, so what are the differences between the tools then?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when you look at what every organization needs, especially sales organizations, you need some sort of CRM to manage it, right? This is a need. You need to know where that prospect is through this process, know what that ultimate source of truth is, and being able to track that communication. In our organization, we use it for forecasting and for external and internal reporting as well. This is something that it's almost like the base. It's in our world we use MVP, the minimum viable product for your sales org. You need to make sure you have a CRM. But as you grow, you may not have a process in place for approvals, or even get to a point where you have approved templates, and that's where PandaDoc really comes into place as you continue to grow as an organization.
Yep.
As far as the CRM, is there anything that you guys see when you implement this, Sonia? I know you guys have so many different partnerships.
Yeah, we call CRM table stakes. It's it's expected, like you need it. It's like you need it, and it should be your database of record for a company. Companies that have an easier time adopting CRM are those that have usually a healthier culture of sharing and discipline as well. So you'd expect that we would be really good at that because we're CRM experts at BrainSell, and we're really great at using our CRM. So the CRM itself, again, table stakes, basic stuff, our opportunity management, contact management, who to call, even like our carpet cleaner is in CRM, right?
Yeah,
it's like, and someone has a question of like, oh, hey, do you know this person's number? We're like, go in the CRM. Like, don't ask me that question, right? Like, I don't even have it in my Outlook contacts. It's all in the CRM. That's where it is. And then everything off of that needs to be integrated. It needs to be.
Well, and you're right. And your CRM, that, to your point, that is your system. That is that source of truth, system of record for everything you do. And both of us being in sales for a lot of our careers, that's where there are all these mundane tasks that have to do with the CRM. So, whether it be following up with the prospect, sending follow-up emails. Well, what I enjoyed about sales was talking to my prospects and actually figuring out what they needed, which is kind of where PandaDoc comes into play. Not only do we give you the ability to generate your quotes, have your digital signatures, provide contracts, and truly just complete your sales cycle, is we give insight into what I would call the black hole that my sales team led. Because when one of my salespeople they're talking to Sonia, oh, Sonia's doing great. Well, when was the last time you heard from her? Well, she emailed me last week. Okay. Well, that's something that's how that you've heard from her before, but are you looking at the documents she's viewing? Has she viewed your proposal yet? Has she made a change? We didn't have the ability to see that. PandaDoc opens your eyes a bit to show you between our on-page analytics what's happening with that document if there is someone involved. Because the best thing that PandaDoc has been able to show me and actually show our prospects is now when I make a call to Sonia or whoever that person might be on the sales cycle, there's a reason. I'm not just, oh, hey, I want to make sure you got my proposal. Yeah, of course I did. It's 2021. Oh, of course. Well, did you sign it? No, or you would have gotten that email. Oh, well, PandaDoc actually can do a lot of this for me. It's going to tell me, did you view the document? Was it sent? Was it executed? And is there a reason I should follow up with you for today? Or if not, let me spend my valued time towards that next prospect or next opportunity. I know you guys have been using PandaDoc pretty heavily as not only a partner, but as an end user. What has it done for you guys? What has it improved, or what have you guys seen?
Yeah, it's completely changed everything. I came from the newspaper world. I was a journalist, a copy editor, a reporter, and nothing grinds my gears more than poor grammar, poor layout, not telling a story, obvious typos, people rushing. So I was kind of like the copy editor, sales manager of your nightmares, and people would we had no other way to do it. Like we couldn't have even really used DocuSign because DocuSign is just a way to get an e-signature. what we were
Right.
doing is sending, like, we had word templates that sometimes people used, or sometimes they were cowboys and they would have their own word template, and that would drive you nuts. And then you do a search and replace for the
Yeah.
company name, and you'd search and replace it, and you would hope that that salesperson had enough attention to detail to please read it over a few times. Make sure that you didn't miss a search and replace, because that's very embarrassing, or that someone's name wasn't changed,
Right.
and that they had a good mission statement and it was all like the pricing was right, and you would just pray that it was okay. And then I had no visibility to that as a manager. People were just out there emailing their own contracts, and there was no control over it. And also, you couldn't see if someone opened it or signed it. Um, you
Yep.
could do that to some extent with DocuSign, but like, I'm going to talk a little bit more like when we go through our demo phase of, where does that fall down? And it fell down pretty quickly for us because it doesn't help people with the editorial process of creating a really nice proposal that sells a deal and shows that you care. So yeah, it consolidated that whole experience for us. And now, like, as our company
Yep.
has grown and our vision has changed, one person can go in, like me, and edit our about us or the mission statement or how we're going to help your company. And now everyone sends the same message to all their prospects, and they don't have to be a journalism major. I don't
I,
expect that, right?
I, I was gonna say I didn't realize that's what your background was in, and candidly,
Yeah.
as one of the worst spellers in our company, that is always my biggest fear is when I send that
Right.
document out, and even as long as I was in sales, there's nothing that could be worse than having the wrong company name or the wrong person's name into that. And I think that comes to one word, which is confidence. And as a salesperson through this process, if I'm confident that the data is accurate coming from my CRM and that the template was approved by someone like Sonia or on my team who I know that this
Right.
is done right, then I'm confident just to hit send and focus on my next opportunity. There is nothing in the back of my mind of, oh wait, did I send that right? Did I use the right information? No, then it's on the PandaDoc functionality and my leadership team to make sure that all that information was put in correct. So it's a great. It's glad to hear that you guys have seen that. It's up there too. I know we're getting here. I know we're getting close to our demo here, but when we're looking at if PandaDoc is going to be the right solution for our prospects, we work with some of our partners. Typically we want to identify the need. I will say this, and we say this very candidly. PandaDoc is an amazing solution that can really have a lot of functionalities, but ultimately our prospects, our partners who we're working with, they have to be ready and organized to set this up. Do you have an approval process in place? Do you know what your workflow looks like? Are you seeing errors? One of the questions we asked earlier is, where is this data kept today? Well, if you had more than one solution on there, like a T drive and a Google Drive and a SharePoint, that's scary. You need to have that single system of record. You want to make sure that all that data is correct. The other piece that's going to be key for this is that experience, not only for your internal team, which will be able to showcase the kind of user experience of PandaDoc. And very proud to say that I've taught my parents to use it. They have their e-sign that they use today for people who come do work on their garden. It's pretty cool. And anything you can teach my parents is pretty high on the user friendliness level. Um, and then ultimately, when you're trying to identify this need, and something we always like to showcase at PandaDoc is, while we're going to focus on the sales use case today, this can go across the board. You find ways that you need automation, that you have documents in other parts of your department. We want you to know that PandaDoc can help you reduce those errors, help with those signatures, and go through. Um, before we jump into that demo, jumping on the experience side, uh, we talked about spelling, but we didn't talk as much about personalization. And
Right.
when you want to make this personalized to that prospect, you want them to feel like this is meant for them. And candidly, that's where sales comes from, right? It's not just to trick someone into buying something and never talking to them again. It's ultimately, how do I make sure Sonia knows that I listened to everything I said to her during this qualifying prospect process, and that we could solve it. And we actually saw 86% of buyers and 64% of sellers, as we pulled our 30,000 accounts as we went through this, felt that the personalization was key. It's one of my favorite things about PandaDoc, the ability to take a template that my marketing team has put into place and add my personal touch, whether that be my own personal video or a unique link that's going to be meant for Sonia about something that is important to her, that I can just add to this to let them know this is important to them as it is for me. It's not just about closing that deal. Sonia, was there anything that you've seen on the personalization side, or even if I go back to identifying this need that you've seen as something that has come up quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, I mean we really pride ourselves in understanding the whole company mission, not just selling a piece of software. And so it's really key for our business and the success of our sales team to tell that story. And going back to like the difference between the tools with something like just a straight up e-sig tool like DocuSign or Adobe Sign, you can't go in there and change the mission statement or the executive summary. And then salespeople are not lazy.
Yeah,
They are very effective and can rush. so, so
strategic, very,
yeah,
very
they're,
strategic with it.
they're strategic. We are salespeople, so I'm not going to badmouth them, but
I was gonna say,
um,
I'll
I'm a salesperson too. Yeah, I love it. But you need to make it really easy for people. You need the like the carrot approach, and the stick approach would be, get into that word template and change it every time, and then make your life harder. So it's just a lot. It's a very attractive, easy thing for a salesperson just to go in there and be like, okay, it's right in front of me. I'm right in this tool. You'll see it in the demo. Like I'm just going to personalize it because it's so easy here, and I don't need to worry about all the other stuff. So it's easier to personalize when you don't have to worry about search and replace and messing up like the theme and the margins, just because you shouldn't have to worry about that. You're not a designer. Yeah.
Right.
So,
That is why we have a marketing team. That's why we have a content team that continue
right.
to help with this. It's ultimately how to be most efficient, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked, yeah. So we've been talking about it quite a bit. I know we're going to showcase your use case today, but one of the things that's always really important, and one of the benefits of working with BrainSell is having so many partners that you guys have with CRM. PandaDoc will work with your CRM. What you're using today, as you continue to grow with it, we're very API friendly. We have, I think at this point, 28 CRM integration partners that's already built and set into place. But as we continue to add more, we want to make sure it's a solution that's going to work with you. PandaDoc has never been something where we ask people to fit into our box. You'll see as we showcase the demonstration here, we want to actually adapt. We want to make sure this is going to be a solution that fits your need too, and actually collaborate. But I know we've been talking about it quite a bit. Are you ready to jump in the demo?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right.
Yeah. And the integration, which you'll see, because Brett's going to show us some of the basics, and then I'll show you the actual integration. We use Sugar here. I'll show you the actual integration, and it's really important to have that integration to your CRM, because all of that silly data, like just the ability to push over like someone's address, so you don't need to like, I'm not a parrot, like I'm a robot. I don't need to copy and paste addresses from places. All of those will flow in automatically. So again, it reduces the manual work for a fast salesperson. and it makes it super successful, effective. Yeah. So I'm excited to show the integration to Sugar too, but go ahead. This looks great.
Awesome. Well, so as we get started, I'm just going to jump into the PandaDoc workspace. And again, if there's anything that you see on here, Sonia, please let me know. I know you guys are some of our strongest users, but I just wanted to a couple of key points just as we were talking about the end of that deal cycle and what could be very relevant to these to the audience today. So I'm not going to dive into each individual section here at PandaDoc, but when I first log in, I want to talk about things that are key to me as a former sales leader, starting with my reporting. Now, sure, my CRM is going to give me some data and metrics, but from a single click, I know from here what my time to close is, how many documents have been completed, and the dollar. This is up to the second generated. Go from here for my close rate. I want to be clear, at my last company, I had to use my CRM, my ERP, and my accounting resource to help develop these stats, and it took about a week from something that we just click and find here.
Wow.
Another key that, as you were talking about some of those, the experience and how this can be built, I want to make sure my key templates are being used the right way. So I can actually go in and see which templates are being used, are they being used correctly, and is my team being efficient? These are the things that I want to see as a sales leader and get through this. What about my individual documents? Now, as a strong salesperson, I might have 15 to 30, and depending on how many deals you have out, I want to focus on the highest priority ones. So Sonia, you're going to showcase how to build these documents from a template. But here, when I'm looking at a sent document, I have some on-page analytics. They're going to tell me, what is this person doing? So here's my signer, Andrea. Well, I can see which page she's spending the most time on. It looks like right now it's page 3, a success video. I'm wondering to the audience today, do you guys know if your prospect needs another customer use case? Do they need another, hey, here's a great way, another case study on how it's being used today? This is giving me some insight into that.
Yeah, and
I
Brett,
scroll a
like a
little
lot of
further.
times the
Yeah.
the signer isn't the person that you've been working with on the proposal or the sales like cadence. So it's really nice to be able to put in a video there and explain it to maybe the executive who's signing it doesn't want to read everything. So I love this feature.
Yep. Even to your point, after I added that video, I can see that maybe Andrea shared it with someone else. Well, here's another user that can be involved in this process.
Right.
Yeah, it's a little scary, but hey, if you use it the right way, it's great. It's just efficient. And it's funny, I even tell our direct team when they'll follow up with a prospect right away and like, well, I don't want to tell them I saw they looked at the page. I'm like, why? That's the benefit of using PandaDoc. They're going to be using it the same way. Nope, there's nothing to be afraid of here. Another key is, do I want to see, are they spending time on the pricing table? Because if I'm talking to my sales leader, I want them to know, look, Sonia's been on this for 4 minutes today. I know there's something she's interested in here. There's something I need to follow up here, whether it's the price is off or whatever that might be. But it's a reason to follow up with them, having an engaged conversation with that prospect, which is always going to be key. A couple of other things that I do just again mention I like to showcase as we get on here are some of our settings, such as our reminders and expirations. If I apply a discount to a PandaDoc and I have an expiration date on it, it's going to remind the prospect for me. There is nothing more uncomfortable than saying, hey, Sonia, it's only 2 more days left. Yeah, they know. They've been working on this document with me the whole time. Let that take that out, because if I do make a call, some of the best experiences I've had at PandaDoc when I reach out to a prospect and they're like, oh, hey, yeah, I know I haven't signed yet. It's like, oh, no, I actually just wanted to see how the trial was going, see if you guys had any need for this particular use case, because I happen to notice you jumped on this in the document and I want to sort of like send you something else. And they're like, so you're not calling me to close the deal? No, it's okay. We've been working together for a while. This is a consultative approach. It's not my job today. My job today is to make sure you're educated and know how to use the platform. Knowing how to set these up and set into place, something that can just make your lives significantly easier as a salesperson.
And the questions too, Brett, like change. And when I'm talking to our sales team, I'm like, instead of saying, when I'm talking to them about their opportunities, I might say like, have they viewed the Panda?
Right.
Or I'll go into the Panda and I'll be like, uh-oh, this person hasn't viewed the Panda for 22 days or whatever. Like, okay, and what makes you think that this is going to close? Because they haven't viewed the Panda for 22 days. Right. Yep. So it's like the conversation shifts. It's pretty cool. It totally shifts when you have this kind of technology.
Yeah, it gives you real insights. It's not just we've all sat in those meetings before at salespeople where somebody's like, hey, what's your best guess? And what's your time? And everybody kind of throws out these numbers from there. Well, this gives us some real insight, which again is not meant to be a way to call out Brett who pumped up his numbers. It's more, hey, here's where I've been struggling, and I saw 3 people's conversion, their templates are converting better. What are you guys doing differently, and how do I adjust to my template, or what suggestions do you have? You mentioned templates earlier. Well, one of the benefits of having the templates here at PandaDoc that I know you're going to showcase in the CRM is if I have a template that works, I can share it with everyone else inside the organization, and we can test and see what works well. Very simple. So Sonia, did you want to take control? Show this next step.
Definitely. Awesome. And great. So show my screen. All right. All right. So you should see my sugar opportunity now, Brett.
I do. Looks good.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. So we showed all those awesome logos of all the CRM systems, and they have varying levels of integration, but I think they're all pretty robust. And so what I'm going to show you today is Sugar CRM and very robust integration. So you can send a PandaDoc really from any module in the CRM or object in the CRM. I'm on an opportunity because for the sales use case, it makes a ton of sense. I'm talking with Gail about 10 user add-on plus services. And so this is my opportunity record, and the next thing I need to do on today is send a PandaDoc SOW. Just a little side note, Brett, you were talking about like other use cases, NDAs, contracts, employment contracts. Like there's so many different use cases for when you need something signed or to send a proposal of some sort that's not in the sales process. Let's say I wanted to send an NDA to Gail in the very beginning of our sales process. I could just send it right from her contact instead, and then it would be forever viewable and attached to Gail's contact on that contact object. Same thing goes here, because this is an opportunity. This specific opportunity with this SOW is going to appear here on the side of the opportunity forever. Okay, so that's also really great because with a lot of businesses, you're hopefully going to have some recurring business. And, you know, like us, like we have a customer for life, hopefully. So each opportunity is going to have its own SOW or PandaDoc appearing here. So again, this doesn't go anywhere.
Well, and to what we were talking about earlier, now you have your source of truth in the CRM, and all the documents, all the workflow, all the information stays in a single place. No one's searching here. You're not getting information. That's perfect. Looks great.
And like it does increase adoption because it's so easy, and it's how we operate. Like in our company, you can't create a proposal outside of PandaDoc. It's just not possible. Like there's no template. There's no way to do it. So you have to use the CRM, and people love it. It's awesome. These tools are awesome.
That's why we pay so much money for these giant software solutions out there. We want to get the most out of it, right? Like you look at the tech stack in an organization. It's like, guys, let's get the most out of it. Let's
and this is like absolute crack for salespeople. Like it's so easy. Why wouldn't you want to do this? So let's create a new document. I'll show you how easy it is to send out an SOW or contract. So what's happening right now is I'm not leaving sugar. This is just overlaying a page. You can see I still have sugar in the background, still the same URL, but it's actually opening up just another page of Panda, and it's showing me all of our templates. We've got some, you know, like NDAs and stuff and other, and then I've gotten really Martha Stewart on this and have organized everything. I'll show you our folder structure. So NDAs, whatever. I got retired templates, other stuff that if someone creates junk, we put it in the other folder. And then these templates, and then I kind of, you know, dish them out by the right role. So let's go into an account executive. And again, I've gone really Martha. It could be a lot easier than this, but I love how organized it is.
I love how, no, seriously, I was just about to say, you really made it to a science. It's, you know, you've turned it into a document management system for how you're going to use it too. It's like, guys, click here, 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 and it's done. And you know what, up front, I'm sure organizing this might have been a pain. And you're like, oh, Martha Stewart, get it from here. But for everyone else who's using it, so much easier.
Yeah, it's been great. And then we're hiring a lot of customer success managers. We hired two new AEs this year, and they know where to go now, right? They go to the AE folder if they're an AE. Also, we've made everything really generic because I'm going to show you something, content blocks, and we started using content blocks, and it's changed the way that we also manage PandaDoc to make it a lot less of a bear. And I'll explain content blocks when we get there. It's really cool. So I'm just going to go with, a new customer. This has a little more detail on it because we expect if it's a new customer that you're going to tell more of a story about their organization and so on. If it's an existing customer, maybe it's like a little change order or some extra work. So we don't necessarily have to tell as big of a story. So that's where they kind of change. So what we do now is we assign roles. So I'm already in here as the BrainSell contact. It picked up on me being the one creating the document and owning the record in Sugar, and it assigned me as the BrainSell contact. The client contact is showing me anyone who's associated with that record, and Gail happens to be associated in Sugar with that opportunity. Then accounting always gets it. And that's because we want accounting to know when deals close and they have their own separate workflow. I could also go in here and put, anyone else on here from our organization, like Hunter, he could be on here too, and he'll just get like a CC copy of it. So we'll start editing.
So I just want to understand. So the way you set it up today, Sonia, The system knows who you are because you logged in, so you don't have to type in it, and it just pulls all that data directly from the contact record.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Love it.
That's exactly right. And also what's happening here, anything in yellow, these are merge fields coming from the CRM. So this isn't something I need to fill out. And it's really cool. I'm going to get a little dorky here in CRM world for a second. This is pulling across modules or across CRM objects, because if you might have noticed, there's no reason for us to have the address of Sugar CRM corporate on the opportunity record. It actually resides on the account record. And so what Panda is able to do is it's able to go across modules in the CRM and be smart enough to say, okay, Gail works at Sugar. And so let's go now to the account level that Gail is associated with, and let's pull all of those account fields. And so it's doing that for me. So I don't need to do any crazy copying fields into the opportunity or anything like that. It's going across modules. This also can include some custom modules too. It's pretty rad. So I can also, like, if for some reason this was spelled wrong in the CRM, you know, shame on me, but I could go in here and correct it too. It doesn't lock me out. It's not completely static.
Yeah, and that's actually part of that functionality is something you could set up within PandaDoc with your sales team. You know, we always want to make sure that that system of record is correct, and we internally here, we even limit some of the ability to edit that our AEs can do compared to maybe some of our sales managers and then our content admins and what they will go through. It's a perfect example as to why. Yep.
Exactly. And then we came up with a different internal naming convention for our work orders. And so we were able to push this into our templates, and then people will fill this out. It's convoluted. I won't go into it, but it totally works because now people are prompted to change the naming convention of the document because it's in the template. So we forced ushered in change really easily through your template.
Strongly encourage change. I love it. Love it.
Yeah. You can't get away from it. It's in red. So then we have a TCO or TOC, table of contents, and really neat. The table of contents is easy to configure as you're making the template, and it will refresh if you add new sections, which we'll go into. It's just like in Word how it inherits the like the top line of each section, like an executive summary. So things in red are like, please God, make up the story. Spend some extra time here. This is all I'm asking for. Just spend some extra time in this area, salesperson. You can see Sugar is actually the name of the customer in this example. So put it in, and then background on the company here. Click to upload an image. And then I can either go to my image library. So there is an image library, and I can select, you know, anything here that's already in here, or I could go and just upload a file. I could grab it from their website, put it on my desktop, upload the file, really, really easy. Or you could go into Canva for something that wasn't a logo and put in a stock image.
I was going to say, for those of you who are familiar with Canva and looking through that, the integration is really sharp if you're looking to really build and design on the marketing side.
Very, very neat. And so you can see here, it's really easy for me just to go in here and say, you know, Sugar is great, da 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 da. And I love the fact that you can do so much with imaging. There are a lot of times where maybe you want to put in another image. So I could actually drag in another image here and create kind of a multi-image stack. I can move over, make the image bigger or smaller. Panda's made a ton of advancements in the last few years over just this UI. It's great. And then maybe I want to put in, you know, so look, an image here or up here. So I'll stack two images. Then maybe I want to put in that video that we talked about. And it's a little video. Ooh, I want to make the video bigger. You could actually drag it down here, or I could remove it. So just so easy to mess with this stuff.
It's a drag and drop tool. And I think one of the things that's neat is even as you're showcasing here, you're building this and you're seeing how easy it is to build to the audience out here. For a lot of our clients and especially our AEs or AMs and customer success managers that are out there, they're not even having to worry about building this because it's already been built in the front end. All they're doing is just hitting that send buttons and get through. So I love that we're able to show, or that you're able to showcase how when you do still want to make changes, you can do so that quickly. and you're still ready to send out and go.
Well, and that's a great point because a lot of companies, like if you're a manufacturing company or maybe you're selling a certain amount of SKUs, you don't make a story and you don't have to be an editorial expert to do this. And then yeah, you're right. Like your templates are more fixed, they're easy. You don't have to give everyone free rein to edit this stuff and make it their own. And I'm going to go down to the pricing table, which is really exciting. That's probably what you're going to care about most if you're a manufacturing company. But just to appease my content or copy editor person self, this is like literally we're telling people like here the vision includes like what you'll take away from it, how you're going to win. This is the real story part here.
Well, I was going to say, even Sonia, with your use case, you guys are selling a consultative service. So that's why you need to fill these out into place. It's going to be unique. We have clients out there, and I'm sure you have clients who are in the medical space or certain industries where, because of compliance, they can't change a thing. So
Lock
that's
it
why
down.
those are important. Exactly. So those are there. So this is a perfect example as to why you need to make changes.
Totally lock it down, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it can work either way. So I'm in here, I've got pricing. This is the pricing table. So let me just, actually, this is fun to, I'm going to create a whole new pricing table and show you how we can just add some actual areas. So this is, we've created 2 different pricing blocks, professional services and software in our example. PandaDoc also comes with a really robust product catalog. The product catalog can either stand alone or, and so like I'll put in, I'll start typing sugar. And now I can see really anything here that has to do with sugar in it. We'll do like Sugar Connect. So this is an example of a product catalog that is standing alone and it's hosted inside of PandaDoc, and it has an image and it has a description, it has a price, then I do the quantity, and this is all like calculating on the fly. Now, cool thing, you can also have your product catalog in Panda be inherited from your integrated ERP system.
There you go.
Or from Sugar itself or Salesforce itself. And sometimes like we'll have a multi-step process of integration where Sugar is kind of the database of record, and the Sugar database is actually integrated with Sage Intacct or QuickBooks. And so the product catalog in Sugar is pushed in from QuickBooks, which then pushes into PandaDoc. So you can actually have a mirror image of your product listings from your ERP or accounting system within PandaDoc through either a direct integration or through a 2-step integration via your CRM. That's what we would help you figure out. Like, we love putting these pieces of the puzzle together with people. And also, if I were to go into the backend, which isn't, it's not a backend, like it's coding, but the admin section of Panda, I could go in and add, like, what is our cost on the item? What's our margin?
Yep.
And it's so much more. So, like, let's here put in 10 of these things. And then maybe let's put in another thing, because I just want to show you one more. I can also do a section, but I'm going to add another product here, and I can search from a catalog. This is cool. We're also going to Sugar, and one of these, we'll do 4 of these and add it. Cool, it's an integration Outlook. Oh, cool, it's got an image and a link that puts you out somewhere else. All right, so I just want to discount one of these items. Okay, so I wouldn't necessarily do it here. I would go in here and add a column, and in here, I would, my column, right here, this guy.
You probably hit that plus on the right there. You could also do it from that top section, but just, yeah.
There we go. New column. And it doesn't make sense for it to be there, so I'm going to move right here to the discount area. I'm going to move my little guys over. And then I can either put a discount in on the dollar amount. Probably not going to do that. Probably going to do something like, I'll give you a 20% discount for an end of year close, right? And so this is just taking that 10% off of this line item. Nothing off this line item. 0. I go down here. I could have also put the discount as a total on the bottom, or this is like, I love this. The line item discount total will actually show, okay, the discount overall that we're inheriting from the lines above is $360, and here's your total. discount expires, tell people what to do. I think this looks awesome. And there you go. So there's pricing, really cool. And then I have a total field here too. It brings those two tables that you're seeing and it totals it together here and it inherits it here as well. So I can see, you know, the whole time how much this thing is worth. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say that feature as far as line item discounts or even line item tax, we do have a lot of clients who use it for landed tax. If you use for shipping, you can have it on individual groups. That's key. Like that is something I've seen quite a bit, especially in manufacturing and shipping recently.
Love it. Love it, love it. These are really important, right? You don't want anyone messing with your terms and conditions, so these really don't change. We did this instead of having like a really, really long terms and conditions. We have people do like an incorporation by reference. So I see here by hovering that this means that Gail is going to have to initial here to say, yes, I agree to stuff that's on your website. And then we have terms.
I think it's interesting, just you had mentioned a couple times earlier, you guys had looked at DocuSign or maybe Adobe Sign, and just hovering over there, that was just our signature. To us, an e-signature is not a solution, that's just part of a bigger picture. So I think that it was pretty neat that you just hovered over that to show that's where Gail needs to sign, or in this case, initials, because that's just a portion of everything that we do. I want to call that out as you're hovering over it.
Yeah, right. It's an add. It's like a cool bonus, but it's not the only thing that Panda does. Yeah.
In our eyes, it's something that it should have, which is why we don't charge for just our e-signature. It's something that you should have in your solution as you go through that.
Absolutely. So I mentioned content blocks really briefly, and content blocks are amazing. They let you stick with more of like one general document and then have, you know, an easy time adding things that are dynamic. So what's an example of that? Content library. I don't know, like headshots. Like, you know, maybe I want to put in like a blurb about someone, you know, or maybe I want to go back here to content.
One of the things we do, Sonia, is we have different files of different case studies based on the use case. So we let the AE choose which ones can be most relevant to the person they're talking to as you go through that.
Right. That's exactly it. So let's say this is a fixed price project. The terms are going to be different. Then you can see this is a fixed price engagement and all of the terms are here. So we don't leave it to our account executives or salespeople to write this stuff on their own. So now I just inputted a new term and here it is in my document. We're ready to roll. We used to have like 4 or 5 different templates depending on the terms. And then we're like, oh, we need to use content library instead. So it's really reduced the number of templates now that we have to use. And then we also prompt the person for our ease of accounting, because sometimes people change, right? And we noticed that it was really hard sometimes to get payment if someone in accounting moved for an existing customer. So we ask them every time, you know, give us your accounting person's information or your department's information, and then Gail signs and I sign in this case. Now, if because this discount is 20%, my manager needs to sign this first. Their approval workflows. Those can be based on the person or the type of document or the level of discount that you're providing, which is awesome. So if we have a new account exec, let's say, I want to look over everything that they send out first, we can put an approval step on it. I get an email. I can even check it from my phone, and I can look over it, send them any changes, make changes, and then approve it, and then they can send it, or it can auto send. Love that feature.
That internal approval, by the way, is something that no one on the prospect side sees and can even get set up into a way where it could be Sonia, or maybe Sonia or 3 other people if Sonia's busy or if Sonia's out for a week or whatever it might be. We could actually have a group approval process where Brett's the new hire on the team. Any document that goes out over 10K needs to be approved by one of these 3 people. First come, first serve. Get something in place. By the way, on the AE side or the salesperson side, the benefit of that is I can see where those documents are getting logged and say, hey, Sonia, look, I'm trying to hit my quota. I need you to approve these, or I need you to please help me out. Tell me what I can do to make this better too. So it really helps the experience across the board.
Yep, I get the email and I get like a Teams or Slack notification from someone saying, hey, approve that Panda, and I'll do it right away. I'll do it right away because I don't want to be the roadblock. And then we have some other things like forwarding. So if Gail gets this document, but she's not the right person to sign it, and I thought she was, she can just forward it, and her manager, whoever else she sends it to, can sign it on her behalf. So we're allowing that. She can also download it as a PDF, they're few and far between, actually. This used to be more of a thing a few years ago, but it's not now, especially with COVID, is that people can download it and they can send it back to you, and then you can go into Panda and change the status as like manually received, and it will close out as one, and then it will go back to the CRM. But that hardly ever happens anymore. So I'm going to send this via email. And, so this, I could change this. It inherited the name of the sugar opportunity, but SOW for review. And now at this time, I simply do a nice message, or I could have canned ones that I'm feeding to people and they can do it themselves. Hi, Gail, please sign. And I like the canned messages because you can make them wordy and really polite. But then send, great, it's been sent. Now it tells me to fill and sign because I am one of the signers. So I'll go in here, I'll sign it. I've also gotten an email saying I need to sign something, and so has Gail. And so now it's actually opening up another Panda page. Now, before I hand it back to you and Brett, and you show us what it looks like, because I don't think Gail's on it. She might not open this right away. But, oh, actually here, I'm going to show one more time. Okay, you can see my sugar screen now, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So this is the best. This is part of the API. It comes back into the sugar screen here. I'm seeing on the opportunity, and this will change as the document progresses. So it's showing here is sent 16 minutes ago. That's probably when I started it. If I would have gotten out of it, it would have auto-saved, and I could have just gone right back into my opportunity and finished it tomorrow. It would have said draft. So it's sent. When Gail signs it, and I refresh this record, it will say signed or completed by both parties, and it will, again, live in here forever. So I don't have to go in here and like scroll down and attach it to documents or whatever. It's always going to be right here. I could also go into Panda proper and search for it and see it there as well, but like it's linked right here. So this is awesome.
Well, and even, with the amount of time that you're looking at this to just confirm everything is correct right now, because it's told you it's sent, it'll tell you when it's been viewed, it will tell you when it's been executed or when it was reasonably out. When you think of that amount of time throughout the day as salespeople like ourselves, when you're going back and just rechecking things and following up on that, if I could take that extra 20 minutes and do what I want with it, whether that's another proposal or for me, it's hanging with my dog and, like it's nice to have that extra time and knowing I can do whatever I want with it. It's one of the fun parts about this. Time is definitely
and the confidence, like you said, like it's the confidence in knowing that I didn't mess up and that it looks really good and it looks professional still, and my manager's going to like it.
Well, and once you finish that whole process, and obviously I'm not showcasing the CRM integration, but just going back to PandaDoc, and you guys can see my screen, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So I can see it's been completed. It's got that dollar amount again because my pricing table was set up correctly. But not only did I get that notification, this is just something key that I think everybody should know. To Sonia's point, we don't typically download a PDF to send it back over. However, when I download this PDF, I am now going to have a timestamp and an IP address to where this was signed. Candidly, we are not an organization where we have a lot of contracts that ever come back. Normally people know how to use PandaDoc and it's something very simple to go through. But knowing that you have this as kind of like here's my source of proof. Here is my source of truth for everything that we did. That's going to come along with the entire history of that document, where it's been, how long people have spent on each page, if it's been sent around, and you'll have this as kind of, as I mentioned, that single source of truth.
Yep. And with COVID, people don't ask anymore, like, is this legally binding? Like, yes, of course it is. We've been using these platforms for almost a decade now, and it is completely legally binding, and it's not up for question now. It's awesome. And I just, as we go through this, like, put your questions in the questions box, please. We covered so much cool new technology. So yeah,
I was going to say, I love chatting so much. It's kind of, I know we went a little bit long and looking at even at some of these questions, I don't know if it would be best to handle them now, or if you'd like us to, we could follow up via email to be respectful of people's time as we go through this, whatever you guys think would be best.
Well, we have a question about pricing, so I just want to talk about that a little bit, because I think this is a deal and a steal. So it's a per user pricing. And I don't know. Talk to us about it, Brett. But we have a pro.
Sure.
We want to show the special screen. We have a Christmas
I will.
holiday
I'm going to show. I'm
special.
going to show the holiday promotion as we jump to this, and we can speak to that. But
Cool.
yeah, asking how it's priced. Again, this is really meant to be a boutique and personalized solution. We don't ask you to fit in that box. Perfect example, as you mentioned earlier, Sonia. What other documents could be involved in the sales process? Well, an NDA or other docs that go through. Well, maybe you have a VP of finance who doesn't need a full license. They just need to approve documents or sign documents. So it's based on a per user model. We do not charge per document as it comes out the way some of our competitors might as you look through. And we have unique licenses and seats based on what that user is. So we have standard ones, which will allow you to be an admin or a typical end user as you can go through it. But we can also build the custom seats. So for us internally, we have solutions architects who have unique use cases in the PandaDoc. We can actually adjust and build that to adjust accordingly. Based on how many users you have in the system, typically a starter package is going to be between $1,500 and $1,800. But one of the benefits that we're working with you guys on is we can provide great discounts and work with stronger solutions and partners like BrainSell to actually personalize this to go forward. So is there any, did you want to speak at all to the promotion? Is there anything else that I could
You
speak
don't
to
have
here?
to match the CRM user number with the Panda user number, right?
That is correct.
Right.
We want to make sure it's only going to be used by them. So we actually internally, we have a perfect example. Everybody in PandaDoc has a sales, has a CRM license as we look through today. Only our sales and customer success teams have PandaDoc
Cool.
licenses because that's where they're using it inside the organization. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
not a requirement to have both.
Very good. And then the licensing pricing is all on the website, but
It is
they also,
all,
yeah, it's all super transparent per user pricing. We'll get you a deal here with these promos, but man, and we can do trials too. And we'd love to talk to you guys about what your exact needs are, what your use case is now, and we'll dive in and make sure that it's the right, it's a good match for you. And when people love it, it takes off.
I was going to say, with us being strategic partners, one of the things we love is when we have a problem that no one's been able to solve. So bring those to us, bring those to BrainSell to come through us. We can show you how between design, automation, and workflow and analytics, we can solve anything. It's just a matter of determining if it's going to be the best solution for you guys for this.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. All right. Well, we'll answer everyone's questions offline. We'll give you probably some phone calls, make sure everyone was clear. And man, Brett, this is awesome. It's great always talking tech with you. So thank you for the time today.
Thank you so much for the time, guys. And we appreciate the opportunity to work with BrainSell. So looking forward to hearing more from you guys.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll send the recording out shortly. All right. Thanks, Brett.
Thank you.